Welcome. Welcome to our July episode of Real Talk with Just for Girlfriends. I am so happy that you're here. We have a great episode in store for you. It's called Making It Last Forever. So whether you are thinking about getting married, newlyweds, or have been married for a long time, you will get some great advice to help make your relationship stronger and make it last. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce myself, and my co-host will do the same. I am Michelle Skinner. I have been a member of Just for Girlfriends for nearly 4 years now, have been serving on the board for about 3.5 years. I manage all of the social media campaigns. So I encourage you to visit us on social media. We'll put our handles along the bottom of the screen there so that you can find us online. And come, what you see here today is just a glimpse of what we offer you every day if you come visit us online. So Robin, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Robin McFarland. I'm a board member of J4G, a very active member even prior to that. And being married almost 30 years myself, I am always looking for ways to make it last forever, keep it spiced up, all of that. So I am super excited about today.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I am Angelique David, the founder and CEO of Just for Girlfriends. Just for Girlfriends was formed on the basis that women were always doing things for everybody else, that we don't stop and do things for ourselves. So Just for Girlfriends' mission is just to help make a woman's life a little bit easier by providing amazing experiences that you might not experience on your own, a phenomenal sisterhood, and a sharing of multiple resources. Our show today, Real Talk with Just for Girlfriends, is just one of the many things that we have to offer. So if you are interested in joining, you can see our handles across the screen. Go to our website, www.justforgirlfriends.com. Also follow us on social media, as Michelle said. So as one of the younger married couples here, I've only been married 15 years, I am excited to talk to all of our guests. I think we're going to learn a lot today.
Absolutely. Well, we are so happy to have with us Yvonne and Gerald Miles.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Thanks for having us today.
They run a boot camp, y'all. They have a boot camp for marriages. And I'm telling you, they're going to tell us all about that and some of the other services they offer that's going to help you keep your marriage spicy. So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Okay, awesome. So I am Yvonne, and this is my husband, Gerald. We've been married for 26 years, soon to be 27. That's coming up August the 6th. So it'll be 27 years. Can you read that, baby?
Ooh, it's been a long time.
That is a long time.
Still here. Still got some hair.
Isn't that bad?
Oh, no, it's absolutely
That's
wonderful.
a great answer. That is
Wonderful.
a great answer. So we have been together for a long time. Even before we got married, we were together 5 years prior to that as we were dating. And so, of course, we've been together like about 32 years or so. So we've been high school sweethearts, and we have 2 children. And we are just excited to be able to be here and share any type of knowledge or wisdom with the viewers, and just hang out with what are Just for Girlfriends, which I'm a member of as well. So I am so excited, ladies, that I'm here as well as my husband, and he's excited to be here. So let's do this. Let's have a ball today.
Come on,
Yeah.
bring it on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
And
You ready?
what prompted you to get into saving marriages, the business of saving marriages? What prompted you to do that?
Well, how it started was we had took a class years ago, and once we were in the class, we looked at each other and said, we can do this just as well. And by being a younger couple, we had a lot of people ask us how once we hit 5, 10, 15 years of marriage and 20, and then people just start asking for advice. So it became a lot interesting to help each other and help others learn, get over a few things, and what got us to our point.
So tell me, what is a marriage boot camp? Are we working out together? What are we doing in marriage boot camp?
Because if it's working out, I don't know.
I'm good.
First of all, it is a fun experience, so you don't even have to worry about that. Not at all.
No workout.
No workouts. But workouts together, you know, especially once we get to that intimacy part, maybe that's where y'all gonna do y'all workout at.
Okay.
So marriage boot camp is something that we actually started when we came together. And it was just like trying to figure out a way to make a bigger impact. And be able to connect with more people, you know, in group settings as well as individuals. Because as my husband said, there were people that were coming to us and was asking us, you know, for just advice or just like, you know, really like this. It was just off the script. It wasn't anything at all scripted. It was just from our heart. And so this started last summer is when we actually started launching the marriage boot camp. During the pandemic, just like everybody else, kind of pivoting and shifting business and trying to figure out what it was, and then stepping into a higher place of your calling and your purpose, and us figuring out what is something we can do together. So we started with this marriage boot camp, and it's been doing very well. Yeah. So what it is basically it is a 6-week program. And in this 6-week program, weekly, we gather and we get together. And once we gather and we get together, we go through everything from communication. We have different topics each week. So we go through like communication is one week. We talk about intimacy another week. We talk about just being able to have a date night and how to be able to create those atmospheres and experiences, whether it's at home or if you're away and you go, you know, into a nice little weekend getaway, and just kind of giving a different way of viewing how to pour back into your relationship. And so from there, what we have done is we added 2 extra bonus weeks. So in those 2 bonus weeks, they're kind of like our whole fun, chatted up questions and answers. We sit around, you know, with the whole campfire. Sometimes we do ours on the patio outside when the weather is nice in Chicago and it's our friend.
Uh-huh.
So, and our goal is to evolve our boot camp to actually a marriage retreat. So we're looking forward to 2022 launching a marriage retreat and really being able to pull out all of the bells and the whistles along with like the classes and training, but just fun stuff, you know, just really, really fun stuff.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. Is it for just couples or people that have been in long-term relationships are welcome as well? Or
that's a great question. Yes. So if you are in a long-term relationship and it's a serious commitment relationship, we encourage you to come. For engaged couples as well, those that we know that are going down the pathway, we welcome them. And then, of course, those of us that are already currently married. And remember, there's different seasons in marriage, right? Because we all have been married for some time. So we know there's the early season, right? Before, let's just say 7 years, you know, in that newly stage where you're still kind of developing. So we try to do breakout sessions to address what happens in the beginning, you know, and then what happens after the 10-year mark. And then, of course, what we are now, we're transitioning and we're over 20 years. So how do you still keep dating alive and still keep your relationship alive? Are a lot of the things that we address.
That sounds amazing. So do couples have to prepare for this boot camp or this marriage retreat, or they just show up?
Well, you know, they don't have to just necessarily prepare, if you will, but we're putting in a new strategy now where we would like to get everybody to go through our training of the boot camp first and then move forward to the retreat. Because if we know, then we know it's a group of people we've worked with before. We know that there's the principles that's been, you know, evolving and going. And it's not like we just pulling random people together that just may not have an understanding of the same level of excellence that we're trying to impact into other people's lives, you know? Yeah.
That sounds so good. And I would assume it's any stage of your marriage. Your marriage doesn't have to be, correct me if I'm wrong, your marriage doesn't have to be, you know, on the brink of disaster to go to this. So this is about keeping the marriage together, not just trying to, you know, your last ditch effort before the big D.
Say it. So I think I'm gonna let you address that, because how do you feel about that part?
No, it's not. It doesn't have to be at a certain point. It's just how to bring fun back into a marriage. What did you do to get her? Those are things that you need to continue to do through the years of marriage. What life looks like after kids, because things go back to single lifestyle dating. Now you're a couple again. You get to go out and date. You get to court all over again because there's no children in the house. So, any of those stages, we encourage anybody. Yeah.
And is there work to be done, certainly as a couple, but do you do separate activities for the females and males, and how does that work?
Yeah,
Oh, that's great.
Yes. Because there are times where men have questions that they want to ask, but they don't want to ask in front of the wives, and they just want a personal response or guidance to their situation, and also to listen to other men speak as well, just to hear what happens in other relationships just as well.
All right.
So, yeah.
So I'm gonna ask, what's one question that men want to know not in front of their wives? Come on, give us one.
We want to hear it. We listening.
Spill the tea.
Mainly, sometimes it's mainly about money, spending. How do you get past the situation through anger? Or I've had guys listen to me speak to my wife on the golf course. I may not agree with something she's doing, but you listen, you get an understanding of what she's asking, and then you give your response. Not a smart response, but an honest answer. So they ask that question at times because some people are short-tempered, and why are you asking me that right now? I don't have an answer for that right now. I just approach it a little bit different. I've been married a long time. So it's happy home, happy wife, happy home syndrome. So you gotta bring that into play when you making your response. And some guys listen to me on the golf course and they ask, oh man, I heard you talking to your wife, but you handled that real easily with no problem. I said, nothing is really that hard. It's just show patience and understanding to their question.
Mm-hmm. So we have a question from our audience, Cynthia Jones Ali. She wants to know, are there things that you can do before you get married to strengthen your relationship, to make sure you enter, in a strong position?
Okay, that's a good question. For us, we had marriage counseling first. Our pastor that married us, he took us down a long path of understanding each part of the Bible where love, sex, argument, he got us to understand a lot of things pertaining to the Bible for us to get to this point where we are right now. The main thing was he sat us down and he asked us, can you forgive something that she's done in the past and not bring it back up again? If you can forget and forgive, then you have a long path to marriage. But if you're going to hold a grudge, then it's not going to last long. So he asked us to answer that question in front of each other, and we did, and we moved past any situation that was possible to get us to marriage. But counseling was very, very helpful for us, very helpful. And he took us down a path to where he let us understand that we're all human. Even though he was a pastor, he said, I have issues, I have problems, but I need you to understand that we're all human and we have to get along. And he just brought us down that path, and it really, really helped us out a lot. Really.
That does sound helpful.
Yes, it does.
Go ahead. No. What's the hot question that the women are asking? Or the topic? It can be a question or a topic.
Usually one of the hot topics is the invisible wall, is what I call it, right? And what that looks like is you're in your home, you all have been married, but there's a point in your marriage where you're not necessarily on the same page, right? Mm-hmm. So you kind of doing your thing, he's doing his thing. Nobody's really addressing it, because when you really address it, it usually becomes a hot topic, right? And it kind of explodes in the marriage. And so what happens, women are walking around with this invisible wall, right? Trying to act like they're not bothered, or he's trying to act like he's not bothered. And they're trying to learn, how do I repair that? How can we, and I'll go back with my famous word I say all the time, is communication. How can we get back and start communicating in a way where he's not offended and I'm not offended? And those are really some hot topics. And one of the scenarios that I use, because we've been there, right? Any marriage has been there. It's been tried. And one of the things that I always go back and revisit, are you trying to be right, or are you trying to be understood? Because if you're trying to be right, then you continue to have conflict, because you're not really trying to get an understanding. In all of your ways, get understanding, right? And so if somebody hit a bump in the road, let me understand how this made you feel so that I can correct my actions and I won't do it again. But if you're just constantly trying to be right, you will never get in a place to have your heart being prepared to understand how did we get there. So those are some of the topics. And so I'm glad you brought that up, actually, Robin, because that's a perfect segue of how we started branching off with the women and the men and doing a segment. So myself personally, I have a group that's called the Spicy Wives. And the Spicy Wives is about learning how to keep your spicy. And I teach in that breaking down what spicy means. The S talking about yourself and understanding how and what value you bring to the table. The P is about your personal development and your purpose. You know, your I is about the intimacy and not just, you know, are you able to look into me? You see, you know, the intimacy part. You know, the C is that communication. And of course, the Y is learning how to yield. And so what I was just speaking about, you know, that place of not trying to be necessarily going for what's right, but going for what's being understood is learning how to yield and tame our tongue. Because sometimes we just really want to just say what we want to say. And it could be very valid about what we want to say. Let's just be real. But timing and delivery is everything. You know, and that's some of the key elements that I would say with the women specifically that I get a lot. So we kind of go through that and I break it down. So I even have like a workshop, you know, that's around that. And I also have the Marriage with the Miles platform. As we talked about the extra bonus pieces in there, we really take time to be able to spend it to break down those, you know, questions that you really want to ask. But let's just be real. You know, majority of the time, you're not walking around talking about your relationship. I mean, let's just be real back, right? Because there's a level of privacy with it. And then there's also like, okay, I'm mad today, but I don't want to be mad tomorrow when my family, friends, or anybody you spoke to, they're not going to get over it. Well, you're going to get over it. And now all of a sudden they're holding a certain level of disconnect, whether it's for the husband or the wife. That's why we really have to pay attention of who do we have as counsel and wise counsel. Right.
Yeah. You know, that's a theme that has gone through a couple of our other shows. When we talked about sex, it was like communication and who can you be in a safe place to talk to. When we've talked about even last episode with Donna Coaxum talking about the market ready sister, a lot of that was communication and having one of her things was having that safe space of communication and who can you talk to. We use Just for Girlfriends as that safe space, as a group of women who can come together and talk. And we always say, nothing we talk about is going to be on social media. It's not going to be with any. I mean, we've all had conversations about our friends, family, spouses, and only the people we've had that conversation with have repeated. You know, it's never been repeated. It's only been with one another. So it's interesting how these things continue to repeat themselves. You know, as you've gone through the marriage boot camp, what's one surprising thing that you've had come out of it?
Oh, I would say probably one that I could think about is majority people really still love each other and really want to stay together. They're just having a tough time of figuring out what's the secret sauce, if you will, to keep it together. Right. And so even like I remember in our marriage, when we started to take this class, it was year 2. So we did premarital counseling. Everything was great. Right?
Yeah.
Textbook, perfect. Okay. And then real life kicks in. You know, we started having children. And then once we start having these kids, it's like, wait a minute, we used to be like so cool. Why all of a sudden, like we bumping heads? Like, and it will be about the smallest things. And so that's how we started taking this class. And this class helped us learn what our love language was. And the importance of understanding your spouse's love language, not only just your love language. And so we learn new principles and a way of thinking and expose us to definitely a new way in our marriage. And that has been the secret sauce to help us. Like, we could say the same thing, but we may communicate it differently. And in our communication styles, I have to remember, let me communicate it to his style. versus my style, so that he can actually understand what I'm saying, right? Because we're going back to the understanding, and vice versa. And he does the same with me. So it does, I would say that's probably been some ahas for me, is most people really want to be together. Most people really love each other.
Yeah.
They just, you know, like, you know, it comes down to like, wait a minute, but it don't go like that.
Right. It's not working right now, right?
I tease men about, I say, I'm going to see my girlfriend. They be like, your girlfriend, but you're married. Yes, I am. I'm going to see my wife. See, short hair is my wife. Long hair is my girlfriend. So those are different things that we use. Those are different things that we use to keep it exciting and keep it fresh. So when she changed her hairstyle, then, you know, I might have my girlfriend, as you can see, for some time now. So we just use it in different phases of joking and playing, but also trying to keep it fresh. You know, by using what you see out there, you may see a different woman out there with longer hair, all that. No, she can do it all the same way. Yeah. I switch up. I do a goatee during the winter time. I let the hair grow just a little bit. It ain't much there. You know, they done rubbed it all out, you know, so it ain't much there. So I let it grow just a little bit and try to get my grown man on. So
he put his beard on. I'm like, you got your beard grown?
Yeah. That's all in popping, right?
So just little things like that.
Mm-hmm. We have a great question from one of our audience members, Kimberly Allen Davis. I've seen this happen a lot. So everyone has their purpose in life. So how do you mesh my purpose with his purpose so that it's our purpose? It's very hard to balance sometimes.
Great question.
So I think, okay, so let's talk about how we made our discovery like that. This is definitely our purpose, okay? Never seen this coming. This is an example of it. So one of my purposes, I've been a speaker, teacher, trainer, just born that way, okay? I have been in cosmetology, so I stood behind the chair and I did the services for many, many years. And so along the way, I started teaching, but I first started teaching cosmetology students, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was my purpose. Now, my husband, he's also with his skills. He's in the automotive. He paints cars and all this kind of stuff. But he was like the non-talker, right? This is to your question right here.
You got it. Thank you.
Because he was the one that was like, I'm not in front of the camera. That's what you do. You know, that's your thing. But what started to happen was we both were like in a place of just praying, asking God, like, what are we supposed to be doing at this point, right? Because you go through that full cycle in life and you start desiring for it to be a higher platform. You're not always just like, if you know, your younger years, you're looking for landing the right career job. You're looking for the right home. You're looking for everything is the right setup for whatever your dreams. But there's a point where you get to where you hit all that stuff and it's not even about that no more. It's like, okay, how do I give back and start fulfilling at a higher calling of a being of myself? And so we talked about like we could have done this like maybe 20 something years ago, like when we took that class. It was like, because it was just fun, but we never like, it wasn't nothing. We was like, oh my God, pick us, we gonna do that. It wasn't anything like that. But to answer and to bring that question full circle, people were coming to us and they started asking us like, how are you all doing it? Like, how do you all stay together? A lot of people get married, but how do you all stay together? And you all like really still like each other, like love each other, and we still have fun and activities. And I'm like, well, the thing of it is it just really was a part of a purpose. It was just for this, you know, to be able to help somebody else. So I think now originally my husband did not give God his yes, right? It was a little harder, you know, and I was still like, God, I am tired. You know, like I hear what you're saying, but I can't make him do it. Right. Yeah. And so I began to use my superpower, if you will, for my prayers to change, to prepare my husband's heart, that he would know his bigger purpose. So all of a sudden, guys started coming to him on the golf course, places where I wasn't even around, you know, and it started preparing where he was like, man, it's like everywhere I go, somebody asking me something about marriage or something. I was like, oh, look at God, won't he do it? Right?
Won't he will, right? Won't he will.
So when it comes around to it, it's kind of like when you and your purpose, and I say the woman, because the woman is the heartbeat of the home. When we line up and we step in what we're supposed to do, everything, the atmosphere changes. It's just that we can't pull them. It's not our job to pull anybody, to change anybody. It's for us to continue to live the lifestyle, to pray, yield ourselves, and the atmosphere changes. They start wanting to line up. So then my husband, he's really great with cooking. And so our platform started growing again. And now we're on to this whole cooking with the moms, because that's a part of what we do. Like it, but we didn't think it was special, y'all. We didn't think, we was just like, we at home and we cook together. Well, there were like people coming to us and was like this really needs to be a show. Like people really need to see how husband and wives that you guys are cooking, and it has been evolving. So I hope that helped her see her answer in it with her and her husband, because when she lines up, it changes. And God has a way of preparing that husband and wife together. It's the simple things.
Even though I didn't see the vision at first, I still supported her vision. Whatever help she needed, I gave her that because that was her vision and her purpose. I just didn't see it yet for myself until, I go somewhere and men would start asking me questions or see me out. And before you know it, I'm in a session for 15, 20 minutes talking to someone about their lifestyle, their choices, or what can help bring their marriage closer together. So it was like, okay, I see this is becoming a purpose. so I might as well just get in line.
So both of you, you can, you through the screen, you can see the passion and the love, and you can see that you guys are having so much fun together. For our couples out there who've been together 10, 15, whatever amount of years, how do you keep that passion? Because you can love someone and they can be your friend, but every marriage you want to be passionate about your spouse. So how did you two keep that passion alive?
Well, first, when we started dating, we were friends first. So we would hang out left and right. We'd go play basketball together. We would go to the movies together. There was really no sex involved. There was nothing. It was just two people hanging out for hours at a time, sitting up at the lakefront, just hanging out. And we kept that going because we were friends first. I know her inner spirit. She knew mine. I knew her, what she wanted to do with life, what I wanted to do with life. So that actually was kind of got us together. We took the romantic part out of it, which can distract a lot of people with infatuation and not love, but we were friends first. So again, to me, that's what kept us together this long, that we were friends first.
Yeah. And Yvonne, how do you keep that passion alive today? Because what if we got viewers who already had sex real quick and not 18 years in, and how do they get that passion back?
That part.
Real talk.
I would say it still has to go back to the foundation, though, because you could be with somebody, but what engagements do you have with them? What activities are you doing? How long are you? Do you just talk? Like there's times where on a deeper level of a connection like this, we're just talking, right? And I'm literally listening to you all. You guys are listening to us. It's the same thing in your marriage. It's like it starts at the core. How do you do it? Set up a date night, right? And a date night is not the movies. Let me just tell you that because I have to say that all the time. It's not the movies. Now, and let me tell you why I say that. Because it's not an activity, right? It's about the exchange. Relationships are built off of energy. So in order for the passion comes along as you all keep interchanging, but it's the conversations, it's being able to serve one another, right? Like as simple as if I'm going to the kitchen and I see a plate, I'll grab it and be like, are you finished with that? He'll be like, oh yeah. And he does the same. Or if he's cooking and it's time to get ready to eat, he's gonna make my plate. Like, I don't even understand why couples get on this, they don't make each other plate stuff. I don't know, that's something new. But I feel like the more, and it's about giving. The more that you all give to each other, then nobody comes up short. It only becomes an issue when somebody's like, I don't feel like doing that. I don't want to give to that person. And then somebody else feel like they're giving and giving and giving. So it's like in any relationship, if you feel like iron is not sharpening iron, it's eventually the passion is going to go away from it. But as long as you keep feeding it, it's going to continue to grow. And the more you keep feeding it, what starts to happen is now you got new things to talk about. Because then you start being like, well, you know what? That steak was a little salty, honey. I don't know. You right? And then it's like, it was salty to you. I didn't think it was salty. You know, blah, blah, blah. But it's really just a small chatter. It's like if you go back and you think about how a relationship starts from the very beginning. And I say all the time that the men are the hunters. The women are the prey. And if you think about just in nature, right, it's always the male species is going after the female and not necessarily in reverse, right? But know this to be true, because I really believe this solely in my heart, that if he say he gonna get you, like if a man say he gonna get you, he hunting you, baby. He will outwait you, baby. He will wait. It'll be cards, it'll be flowers. He'll be like, oh no, she ain't talking to me. No, he's still bringing you something because it's the nature of a man. Because he sees something he wants, he's gonna go after it, right? And what happens eventually, he end up getting your heart. You know, if you decide that that's the direction that you really want to go to. So I just think that passion is something that is worked on every single day. The more of what you do on your day, it just kind of stirs that fire up.
And I think that cowgirl lesson we learned last show probably will help.
We did learn that a couple shows ago. Yeah. I got a question about, since there's spicy wives, do you have something for the men, Gerald, about, is there something similar?
Not yet. Usually what I like to do is when the men come in and they want to talk, they usually ask me for some personal time. And then I'll just do that with them one-on-one, you know, just to get their input. They're looking for questions to be answered. I'll just take it on a personal approach for me for right now. But eventually down the road, because I like I said, I like to golf, I like activities, I like to cook, live music, stuff like that. So eventually we'll do something like that for the guys.
Okay.
You see how you just spoke that into existence, Robin? I'm just saying.
Yvonne, I saw that look you gave him. Yeah, that look you gave him, like, told you.
Right. Don't miss it. That's a wife right there. Did you see it?
We picked up on that. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is the example of going back to those questions, how it just kind of takes a life of its own. It was just like that. Because like when we're sitting up talking and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, if I find, you know, with the spicy wives, we could do this. You could do something with the guys, like, you know, maybe do like a garage type of segment. Like what's under the hood of the car? You know, talk to them, the men. You know, I'm just trying to do manly stuff. And he was like, But see how you just said it. And he was like, oh, down the road. I'm like, okay, God, you ain't finished with this man yet.
No, he heard. But this brings up a good point. Is the marriage boot camp and the retreat, are those in-person events or are there any virtual components?
So the Marriage with the Miles retreat will be in person. We're actually looking for a location right now. And we want that one to be really, really nice. So we're just trying to find a perfect location for the atmosphere to be right, for the couples to come in. You know, we know a lot of our agenda that we want to put there. That's going to definitely be in person. It is so worth it. Oh my God, it's going to be so nice. Now, the marriage boot camps, we've been doing those virtually because they started during the time of the pandemic. And so we've been doing those virtually. So like we have our link right now that's up on our page where you can go ahead and get on our wait list. So as we get ready to add the next couple of people that want to sign up for it, then we're going to go ahead and branch it out and do another virtual event with it. So those are virtual and the other ones are going to be definitely in person. He likes in person.
He likes in person. How many people are in the boot camp? How large are the groups?
So it's not a large group. So we try to cut it off like about 25 at max. So, you know, that's like about 12 couples, you know, or so that's in between there. And then I love the transformation. That's what I love probably the most. I love when people, even like when we have gatherings, I love to see when people come in one way. And by the time we finish talking, dialogue, and everybody's like connecting and bonding, everybody transforms, right? We've even been on trips where there were couples that were like around all of the married people, and there were one single couple. Before it was over, the guy started putting him a ring on his finger. He said, "I'm married now. I want to be with y'all. I want to be with the married team."
Oh my God.
I said, you know what? I like the way that happened, but it's the energy, and it's the conversations, and it's the maturity that's behind it. That all marriages are not on the rocks, and all of them are not bad, right? But this is why we're doing what we're doing, to keep fueling them so that we can continue on. there's so much, and this is why I think the niche market for us came in. There's so many people who are in a bad space before they're ready to get help. And then for those of us that's in a good space, we'd be like, but what about us? Like, so y'all ain't got nothing for us? Like, so we started finding, even when we would go to like marriage retreats for churches and things like that, it will be really nice, but it was just still so churchy. You know, it wasn't, it was missing, like, what about after all the lights and the camera go down and you have to be in real life, right? And y'all not walking around singing Amazing Grace to each other. I'm just sorry.
That is true.
You know what I mean? It's like, where's our real people? And so that's how, honestly, we found our calling in just being real people. You know, we put real music on. We step, we dance, you know, like we are real people. You know, we get a chance, we feed each other food and be like, well, you taste this. Well, I'll taste that.
But you also got to remember, even though we try not to make it quote unquote churchy, but you still, in your marriage, you still have to keep God first.
Yes.
So we don't want to take that aspect out, but people want to feel, they want to ask questions and not be judged. And they don't want to feel like they're being judged because
that's the key.
You're looking at a certain standard of how a question or answer should be answered when we're dealing with real life. But we also want to make sure everybody understand that you always keep God first.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing
that's a great perspective, because I mean, that's really what it's all about. You want to go there to improve a situation or to make a situation stronger. You don't want to be holding back. Like, I don't want to discuss this because people are going to look at me differently or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, creating that open atmosphere. That's awesome.
And the other thing that I love that you're doing is that you're doing it before it gets damaged, because by the time a marriage is at a rocky place or a hard place, you've got a lot to rebuild, whatever that is, the trust, the passion. I mean, it's a hard thing to go back. So you always, how do they say, you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready? So this is making sure that you're staying on point in your marriage, not going to the bottom and building all the way back up, because I think that's when marriages begin to fail. People don't want to put all that extra work in. It's like, I might as well just start over. But so I like the fact that it's staying on the path, staying ready.
But if you have the energy to start all over, you could have put that same energy into what you had, because
love it.
What's out there, there's a lot of stuff that's out there that's not worth it. Okay. By the time you get out there, your boat is already starting to sink and now you're looking for land and she's already gone. When you could have just stayed and worked on the foundation, period. Because it's not really that hard. The energy that it takes, you could use that same energy in the marriage that you're in now. Again, just recreate different atmosphere. Yeah. Prime example, COVID started and she couldn't go to work. She's used to being out of the house. So I said, how can I brighten the spirit? So I've made a pact to myself, once a month, sometimes twice a month, I bring home a dozen of roses.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay.
But as you've been in marriage for some years, the flowers stop.
Yeah.
They're not as frequent. They're only now on birthdays or anniversaries. But so for me, I just decided to brighten her spirit. Just once a month, just come in with some flowers. Just little things like that.
Yeah. That goes back, Angelique, to that point of how do we keep it alive and keep that passion. Those are some of the things that we do, you know.
So I know we heard like cooking with the Miles, the marriage retreat. What are some other services that you may offer so that married couples or those thinking about marriage can keep their relationship strong?
Yeah. So that's good. So we talked about the Marriage with the Miles platform, of course, with the boot camp. And then the retreat that's coming in 2022. Spicy Wife, that's up and live current. Actually, I have a live masterclass that is right now going to happen in July. And I'm doing it for 3 days. It's free. And so what my goal is to be able to bring as many women in those spicy wives, of those who want to find their spice or to keep it, same above, to sign up. So you can sign up on my link from that. That's going to be July the 24th and 25th. So I believe it's 23rd, 24th, and 25th. But it's on there. It's a 3-day that I'm going to do from there. And then once we finish with that masterclass, I will open up a boot camp for just women. That is going to be my goal for our Spicy Wives for that. We do have our apparel. My husband mentioned earlier when he talked about God First. So we do have our apparel that are God First shirts that we do. And we just started preparing to do our new golfing collection. That is all my husband. He did that one. I got to give him. So again, it will be with God First. That's on our golfing collection, on our hats. And we're preparing for events, some golfing events that will be to come. And then we have our couple apparel shirts, and like he has on his, he found his good thing.
Yeah, hoes find a wife, find a good thing.
Let me get close to this camera. Who am I?
His good
thing. Yeah, I like it.
I love it.
That is
Love
so
it.
cute. Yes.
Thank you.
So you mentioned your link. Where do they find the link? Where is that?
You can go to on our website at ivannamiles.com.
Okay.
You can go onto there. You'll see everything that you need there. And then also on my social media handles, on Instagram, you can find me at Ivana_Miles, or you can go to our Instagram, which is Marriage with the Miles as well. And which it is. A lot of people say, well, how do you have that set up? But it is literally marriage with the Miles. So you have that there. So we're in a process of right now redoing our website. We're so excited. We've been doing a lot of work on the back end to just start to really feed it and ramp it up more, which you'll be seeing a lot more content that's going to be coming out, a lot of pictures for Spicy Wife as well as for Marriage with the Miles. So we're ready to rock and roll, y'all. This has been like a phenomenal time of just rebirthing, pivoting, and shifting, So we're here for it.
And I will say there is a link to Yvonne and Miles on the Just for Girlfriends website under our discount partners.
Yes.
So one of the things that we really try to do in Just for Girlfriends is support one another. So Yvonne, let's talk offline, because I hear some synergies that we could make sure that we get, some of our married couples maybe into yours, some of your women into there's some synergies. That's one thing we always are trying to do in Just for Girlfriends is make sure we are supporting one another.
I appreciate that. And I tell you, you are the truth with that, because I tell you, Angelique has her in the team. I'm not even just going to say only you, but I mean, you're in the team. The sisterhood is real. If I tell you this one thing for sure, if you're not a part of Just for Girlfriends, you should be.
That's our mission. Yeah.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, now is a great time to introduce our special guests. Full disclosure, it's my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ware. Hey, Mommy and Daddy, are you on? Hello?
You have a mute?
Okay, no. Excuse me for just 5 seconds here. Let me see what's going on.
While Michelle is getting Mr. and Mrs. Ware on, who have been married 66 years.
Amazing.
Which is absolutely amazing. One of the things that you said really spoke to me, which is that communication and ability to talk and ability to be best friends. So my husband and I, we were actually high school sweethearts as well. And we actually broke up for 7 years. He went to the military, I went to law school, and we reconnected. So that whole thing about when it's for you, and I mean, we went to proms together, and we were laughing that we would be in his old school car driving down the street listening to Carlos Rossi. So that was, and if anybody knows my husband, they know he's super into hip hop. But we would communicate all the time. And when we got back together, we took a trip to Cincinnati, which is about a 5.5 hour drive. And we realized when we got there, we had never turned the radio on. And we were just talking the entire time. And so hearing you talk about that communication, I think that's one thing that has really kept it alive. Because if you can talk for 5 hours after being married, that you still have a lot of communication back and forth.
Yeah. Sure. Definitely. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, because, and it's interesting, I'm sure, as you guys was communicating back and forth, it was things that he was saying that was just giving you energy, right? Because it was making you think about, oh my gosh, that's a great way to think about it.
Right.
Different people's perspectives on stuff means everything. Yeah. That's great.
Okay, I think we're ready now.
All right.
Okay, Lucius and Silvia, where are you there?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. So everybody out there, my parents are going to be answering some questions. I'm sorry we don't have video. We were having some technical difficulties, but hopefully you can hear. If you have a problem at any time in the chat, just let us know. So we're going to ask you some questions. I'm going to start off. So you guys have been married how many years, Mommy?
66 years.
Oh,
my goodness.
That's incredible. I still can't believe it when I hear that. So when was your wedding anniversary?
July 3rd.
Okay.
Oh,
So
happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
So tell us, when did you and Daddy first meet?
We met in college. You know, we were, at that time, I was attending Alabama State College. And she used to tell me could see me from her school, and I was walking on campus. But we finally was in the choir together, and I saw her one night and asked her if I could walk her home.
Oh.
I thought she was really dumb. And she said, yes. Okay, and I started to the dorm, and she was going a different way. I said, wait a minute, where do you live? I live on the city. I said, do you walk? She said, yes, it's not that far. I said, okay, well, I'll walk you home. I didn't know where I was going. I was just hoping I could find my way back. So,
He was hunting. He was hunting. She was the prey.
First time we walked, and from then on, we walked everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah.
Love it.
So Michelle's parents are like my parents too. So Mom and Dad, what was your first date?
Well, we would go to the movies after church. But first of all, I was in charge of the junior choir at church. So my choir had to sing 2 songs in the morning service and 2 songs at night. So after the 2 songs, naturally he showed up at church every time I was there. That was natural. So I was going to be at church. My choir is going to sing. He's going to be there. And if you know him, you know that he has a beautiful voice. So he used to be my guest soloist quite a few times.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it was just beautiful. He has a lovely, well, I guess he has a lovely voice. I haven't heard that singing voice in years. I don't know whether he lost it or what. Like he soloist, you know. And it was just wonderful because it was so beautiful, you know. And we just did everything together. On Sundays, he was at my house every night, but on Sundays, he was there in the afternoon and at night. So we just grew together. You know, we were together like 3 years before we decided to become engaged to be married. You know, so it just gelled like that. I always say you got to learn to be together before you can get married. I don't know if you can just jump up, meet somebody yesterday and marry them tomorrow. I don't think you can do that and it lasts. But I guess it's good for some people. But
That's rare.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, so Mommy, I've heard this story. Yeah. So how many times did y'all actually get engaged?
Almost every night.
You get a ring back, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, I wore my finger out giving him the ring. You know, he would give it to me, and I would get all upset because I'm here to tell you I was one of the jealous types. He was in the dorm with some girl, then I give him the ring back. I didn't have to know.
You thought.
One of my friends found out that I was one of these jealous types. She would come and tell me every day, Lucius was at the dorm with this girl. He was at the dorm with that girl. So that's why I gave the ring back. But when he left out my front door, I met him in the backyard of my house where he gave me the ring back. That went on for quite a while. I don't know how my finger didn't get raw.
Mom, we have a question from one of the audience.
I really don't know how We grew so close together.
Hey, Mom.
I was a mess. I was a mess to live with.
I know. Believe me, I got it honest, so I know. So we have an audience member that has a question for you, Mommy and Daddy. Patsy Graham Walton. She says, what was one of the challenges that you had, if any, in your marriage? I'm sure you had many in 66 years.
What kind of challenge? We didn't have any challenge.
You ain't have any challenges. 5 kids,
No.
66 years. Okay, that's a blessing then.
Oh yeah, and we are blessed.
Oh, okay.
And to think we've been married 66 years, and we don't despise each other. We still love each other with all our heart. 66
Despise.
years, we tell somebody,
Strong.
they said to the same man.
Yeah, to the same man.
But you can see I don't have too much to say because I don't have room to start talking. This is 66 years. This is let her talk, and occasionally I would say, "Women, now let's do it this way. Or let's do that." But you can see, but it's been a lovely time.
Yes, it has.
So what
It.
kept them
The
together?
thing about it is you have to love.
They can't hardly hear.
You got to get yourself together to think of this man, and then it's going to grow into love if that's what you want. And that's what we did. You know, we were in school together, and for 3 years, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend, you know. And then we got to that one point where he gave me a ring, and it just grew on me, you know. Oh my God, I just love this man. We planned our wedding. I mean, because we had a big wedding at church. And you know, he's Phi Beta Sigma and I'm Zeta Phi Beta. So we had a blue and white wedding.
Beautiful.
I had 6 Zetas and he had 6 Sigmas. So it was a beautiful
I never knew
affair.
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
That's awesome.
you did it.
We've got a good question from the audience.
So someone is asking another question.
How
And
can,
tell me what it is, Angelique. I don't see.
how
Okay,
can
you
you restore trust again if there's trust been broken in the
The
marriage?
marriage with the Miles may be able to answer that as well. But the question is, once you lose trust, how do you restore it? Or is there a way? Do you have an answer to that?
No, I guess we haven't been married long enough to lose trust. 66 years is not enough. Trust. Oh.
It has happened, believe me. So I don't know. Yvonne and Gerald, do you have an answer for that?
Well, again, it goes back to, as I stated earlier in the show, our counseling is what got us to that point. If you can, in your heart, truly forgive and never bring it back up, then that's the process of rebuilding trust. Because you have to be able to say to yourself, I forgive you for this. I won't bring it back up again.
Okay.
And then from there, you can start building trust and understanding with each other again. But you have to be able to let it go. If you can't let it go, then no, you won't be able to build trust again. I don't care what he does. If you're going to hold on to it, it's not going to work.
And I like what you said before. If you can go rebuild trust with someone else, why don't you start with what you have?
That's right.
Like Donna said, don't make it easy for the cleanup man or the cleanup woman.
That's right.
Right.
Right, Donna.
So, Mommy and Daddy, we are almost done. Do you have any advice? What would you give? What advice would you give to a couple that is thinking about, getting engaged or getting married? What would you say to them?
Well, I would think one thing, you have to be in love with each other.
Yes.
And you have to trust each other and believe in each other.
Mm.
And once you do that, I think, you won't have any problems. Well, you're always going to have something, but you'll be able to work it out. Because nothing is perfect, but you have to be able to talk through it and work it out. And if you love each other, you're going to come to some good conclusions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you got to think about, is it worth it? And the answer will be yes. I know what I've always, and I still believe this, is that, and you guys touched on this, Mr. and Mrs. Miles, you have to be friends first. You know what I mean? Because you're going to be mad at them. And if you're not friends, you're going to be like, this is for the birds. So you have to really be friends first and want to get through the tough times. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
So, Mommy, has there ever been a time when you went to bed upset, like mad at Daddy?
I don't think so, Michelle. I don't.
Well, I can testify. I've never seen them fight. I thought they fought behind closed doors, but I guess, yeah, I have never seen them argue about anything.
Yeah, we've been really real with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't know how he lasted because I was so doggone jealous. I couldn't deal with it.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell him this story, Mommy. So my daddy, she was talking about his singing voice. He actually was in a band. And they want which group wanted him to tour with them, Mommy? It was a really famous group that wanted my daddy to be their lead singer. Do you remember the name of the group?
It was that. What's the spiritual group that wanted you to sing with?
I can't remember, but they were actually well known. But he was actually younger, a younger student. His mom and dad would let him go. But anyway, but he used to be in a band and singing. And you know how when the soloist sing, the girls in the audience, they stand up and scream. Oh my God, I'm acting fool at my daddy's concerts. What did you used to say, Mommy? I'm like, that's what people do at concerts. Yeah. She'd be like, that's my man.
That's right. Stay clean. Stay clean.
How embarrassing that was. Oh my God. Yeah.
So we played at the Elks Club every Sunday night, and it would be packed. And we really had pretty good bands.
Real good.
And sometimes a couple of songs, I would sing, and people would be standing up. Young ladies would be standing up yelling, "Oh, you should see your mother."
I can imagine.
Finally, she got over it. So it's just the way it is.
Yeah. She realized you weren't going anywhere, I guess, eventually.
Right. She was able to start changing.
Mm.
It was hard, especially when he sang "Oh Danny Boy."
Oh.
Women just been ape shit. I had to let them
Mom,
know.
you cursed.
That was my man.
ASHIT.
I mean, just
I remember this was in like 1956, 57 back then.
Mm.
Today it's different.
Oh, they still scream. They got groupies. It's probably worse today. Yeah.
That's
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have time for one more question. Anybody have another question they want to ask before we go?
I think the last question would be, you asked what would you give advice for a couple who were trying to get married? What advice would you give to a couple to stay together? Like, what's the one thing that has kept them together all this time?
Did you hear?
Yes. Well, first thing, you have to trust each other, and you have to really believe that this person is a person that you love and that they love you, and realize that during all those years there will be some differences, but there's no differences that can't be corrected or made up. So I would tell them, trust each other, love each other, and you can make it 66 years.
But you got to love each other, Michelle.
So I think, I think that's what
you got to love. You know, and you got to realize that marriage is a give and take. You're not going to be the boss. He's not going to be the boss. You're going to do it together.
That's
and
right.
If you got problems, sit down and talk about it. If you got something that's worth talking about, you could just have problems that's not even worth anything. But if it's something that is going to mess up your marriage, you need to talk about it.
We're back to that communication that comes up over and over and over again.
And over again.
Wow. Well, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that you guys have been able to be on the show. This was a great episode. I mean, because even if you're not married, a lot of these principles will help you in any relationship. Yeah. So, we've given you some tips and some tools for your toolkit. And, you know, you have all the services that the Miles offer to help you. I know I need to get in on that spicy wife That sounds like something.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you all are welcome. We would love to be able to pick this up more and be able to work with more people individually, offline. That would be phenomenal. So definitely go over to that link, on my site. And like I said, and we can set up a discovery call. Let's just see if we can figure out a program to be able to get you into. So that would be amazing.
Is there an age range? Hey, mommy, you want to do that spicy wife class with me?
Yeah.
Okay, mommy says she's in on the spicy.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I know we went over a little bit, and I so appreciate you hanging in there with us. Again, visit us on the web. Our handles will be scrolling across the bottom. Visit us on social media. Please follow us. I would love to keep interacting with you there. Real Talk with Just for Girlfriends will be back on August 3rd, and we're going to have a very, very enticing conversation about friendship. How can you be a good friend? You want to tune in because it's not going to be what you expect. And so until then, have a great day, have a great week, and we'll see you then. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great week. Bye.